Well, welcome everyone. Really grateful to have those who can be with us tonight on this broadcast. It's a joint effort between the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Vermont Department of Labor. Really some important topics. We are grateful to have a number of guests with us tonight to talk about opportunities, job opportunities, career opportunities, and we just love our young people in particular that we know are joining us tonight. We have many youth that are with us and young single adults from all across Vermont that are considering, what their future might look like and what opportunities are available to them. And so really grateful for all that have contributed to some content. We're going to have an opening prayer that will be offered by Kristen Lajeunesse. She's our state communication director, and then we'll proceed with the program.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity to meet together and to share with those who may have questions about and their own choices and their ability to be self-reliant. We're grateful for this night, for the people who volunteered their time, and pray that they stand with us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. So in terms of the format for tonight, we're going to start with some of the content that was provided by the Department of Labor. They've provided 3 different speakers to share some information that's really very helpful and good information. We're going to have a panel discussion from 3 tradesmen who can share a little bit about their businesses and successes and what it's like to be in the trades. And then we have a concluding speaker, and I'll introduce all of our panelists and speakers as we get to that point. So first up will be these, I'll have a little segue in between some of the videos to bring up and demonstrate some of the websites they've mentioned, but we're going to watch a few of these videos from Department of Labor.
Hello, my name is Matt Barowitz. I'm an economist with the Vermont Department of Labor. Thank you so much for having me here today. I wish I could have been here in person, but unfortunately the pandemic has made it such that I can only participate virtually. But hopefully in the future our paths will cross, or should you have additional questions after this, I'd love to connect. I've been asked to just do a quick overview or introduction into career exploration. As an economist, my primary focus is scarcity. What can you never have enough of? And one of the things that we look at a lot of when we talk about scarcity is information. And when you're doing a career search, whether that is for jobs or education or training, information is very important. So I really encourage you to use and leverage all the resources available to you. But first, let's start with a quick statistic, or 2 quick statistics actually. Did you know that 75% of all professional football players are bankrupt within 3 years after being done playing professional football? Or that 60% of professional basketball players are bankrupt within 5 years after being out of the NBA? How could this be possible, right? You have millions of dollars, even league minimum is several $100,000 a year. And you have these individuals who find themselves completely bankrupt. Well, there's 2 reasons that we talk about, or I talk about when we look at this data, and it relates to career awareness and it relates to how you can set yourself up for long-term success. Number 1, they spent everything, right? If you're taking in a ton of money and you're spending out a ton of money, then you're always going to have to be earning. So every time you're making money, you have to be thinking about saving some for down the road. That can be helpful if you have disruptions in employment, but ultimately retirement, right? If you're always spending what you're earning, you'll never be able to retire. So 1, spending, of course, that's a big part about it. But there's a second piece that will really hopefully highlight some important points for you today, and that is skills. These are individuals who could do one thing and do one thing well, and that's it. When their skill was no longer marketable, or they were no longer the best in the biz, or their body couldn't put up with the physical tolls and pressures of playing professional sports, they had nothing to fall back on. Smart athletes actually do other things on the side, like have a podcast to help them with their media career after retirement. LeBron James even has his own movie company so that after he's done playing basketball, he'll have something to keep himself busy and earning money. And so to help you in your career exploration, I want to highlight 2 tools that are both available on our website, which is vtlmi.info. Again, vtlmi.info. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see a section called brochures. There's 2 brochures there. Both of those brochures are excellent. One is about all the employment opportunities that have been highlighted in the Vermont economy because they have high wage, high growth. We highlight 70. In reality, there's about 700 occupations in the Vermont economy. This brochure actually just highlights 60 to 70 of them, but it lays out what you need in terms of education to be successful. It breaks it down by personality and worker type. So you can ask yourself, what occupation is going to work for you? What type of work setting is going to work for you? Do you want to work indoors? Do you want to work outdoors? Do you want to work as a team? Do you want to work alone? All these are part of who you are as an individual, and getting in touch with what you like and what you don't like ultimately help you make better decisions about your career and your education training needs. The other brochure that I'm going to highlight, unfortunately I don't have a physical copy, is also on our website, vtlmi.info, in the upper right-hand corner, and it is the 7 best bet training opportunities in the state of Vermont. These 7 programs have been highlighted because they lead to a gainful employment relatively quickly, hopefully within 18 months, but also, so low cost, but also the demand on the other side. You complete these programs, the completion rate, the employment rate after completion is very high. These are good employment opportunities. The trainings cover things like the apprenticeship program, which you're going to hear more about, so I won't talk too much about it, but electricians and plumbers, that's highlighted in there. Also, nursing, there's a healthcare opportunities in there. There's a couple of computer occupations related to either graphic design or website design, also bookkeeping and manufacturing, a wide variety of training opportunities that lead to good employment. So just like this brochure, which identifies pathways to promising careers, that brochure highlights training programs specifically given in Vermont for jobs in Vermont. Either of these brochures, I encourage you to pick them up, use our website, vtlmi.info, go to our career exploration page, watch videos on occupations you may have never heard of. I'm an economist. When I was growing up, I never knew there was an occupation called economist. How would I? You only know what is around you, what you see every day, cashier, teacher, nurse. And if you didn't have exposure to all the 700 different occupations across the Vermont economy, there's many you might not be aware of. So I really encourage you to ask questions, ask your neighbors, your parents, your friends, your guardians. What are jobs you've had? How did you get them? What was your favorite job and why? Really listen to that why answer, because they really tap into what might work for you. Some jobs that don't work for somebody might work for you. So again, encourage you to ask questions, be open to the process, and be willing to take additional training if necessary, because it is worth the sacrifice to take that training to get the job you want, which is ultimately going to lead to both independence, economically speaking, and a higher level of personal satisfaction if you're enjoying the work you're doing. So thank you so much for taking the time and having me here today. You're going to hear from a lot of great people from the Department of Labor, and encourage you to, again, check out these brochures at our website, vtlmi.info. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Hugh Bradshaw. I'm one of 2.
So just before we go on to the next video here, this is the website that he was referring to, vtlmi.info. And on here, you can find that brochure that he had in hand. And so what that looks like, just as an example, if you were to go in here and you're trying to understand what opportunities might be available, what they'll do is they'll show you job openings. So I'll just expand this a bit. What your kind of interests are, are you interested in observing, learning, analyzing, right? So they'll have these different occupations that are listed here. They'll show what the 10-year job projections look like, the number of jobs, and then what the wages are and the education involved in that. So we have everything from, things in healthcare, things in education, things in the trades. We're going to talk about electricians and plumbers. We have 2 panelists that will talk about these things. And there's a couple thousand job openings that you can see with these registered apprenticeship programs. And we can look at the wages and what those job openings look like. So that is at that website. And we'll go on to the next video here.
2 workforce development directors at the Vermont Department of Labor. And I wanted to meet with you here today just to share a little bit about what we can offer to you through the Department of Labor, and also where those opportunities may be for careers that may not necessarily start with a college education, but that can certainly lead to high wages and the ability to raise a family. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing a PowerPoint. The Vermont Department of Labor has offices statewide, and usually one is quite nearby wherever you live. You can find all of those listed on our website. We can help with anything to do with career exploration and job placement, everything from cover letters and resume assistance to job postings to posting your own resume for employers to review. We can also help you access training and education resources, as well as there are many youth-specific opportunities that Tracy's going to share a little bit more information about. As Matt mentioned, the LMI information page is down here on this page. It's www.vtlmi.info. And then also our main labor site is labor.vermont.gov. Just a quick snapshot of that LMI site so you have a sense. Matt talked about going to the Promising Pathways and the Best Career Training Programs section, and those are right here. You see them on the right-hand side circled, and that's where you click. And once you click on those, you'll come to these different pages. So this is the Best Bet Career Training Programs page. And you can see here the different areas, career areas, and some of the earnings potential. And then this is a snapshot of those promising Vermont careers. And as you can see, quite a few in all kinds of different categories. So there's plenty to offer no matter what your area of interest may be. In addition to the skills that Matt mentioned and lifelong learning, very important, some of the key skills that we're hearing from employers every day are very simple, but very important. Showing up on time. This may sound simple, but in many cases, they struggle with people coming to work on time. And in many cases, they depend on you being there in time so that they can get the workday started, the processes can start in the manufacturing environment. Other people depend on you being there if you're part of that manufacturing line. So showing up on time, very important. Working well with others. All employers now work in teams. Pretty much everywhere you go, there will be some kind of teamwork involved. And it's very important that you know how to do that and how to work with others. Following instructions, being able to clearly understand, interpret, and follow instructions is a critical skill that every employer is looking for. We are certainly seeing hiring across many industries due to just growth in those industries. Healthcare is a booming industry across the state. There are many, many opportunities and many openings. Professional and technical services. This is everything from financial services to bookkeeping to consulting services. And then leisure and hospitality, of course, in Vermont is a large segment of our industry. And there are many, many opportunities in leisure and hospitality. And it's not just chambermaids. These are management and leadership positions that can pay high wages in many of these hospitality sectors. Then we also know we're seeing a lot of growth and need in industries due to retirements. So healthcare, again, is seeing a large number of retiring nurses and physicians. And so there's a real need to start an influx of workers in those fields. Manufacturing has an ongoing challenge with retirements and a need for new workers to be coming into manufacturing. And manufacturing is not what manufacturing used to be. Manufacturing is very high-tech, computer-oriented, usually in clean rooms, very clean environments, and actually kind of fun work. There's a lot of really interesting manufacturing going on in the state of Vermont, including in the aerospace industry. And then certainly construction is booming across the state. You'll hear more from your panel about some apprenticeships in electrical and plumbing. Construction industry is really looking for workers in just about every occupation in construction. So there are many ways to get to these high wage jobs, and they don't necessarily have to start with a degree. There are many things you can do to introduce yourself to an employer, including unpaid internships, paid internships, going in and doing a job shadow or doing a short-term work experience so that you get hands-on experience with those jobs. There are many employers who will pay for education and training. Once you come on board with them, this is very common in the healthcare sector. If you come in and you're a good worker, they'll help pay for your education and move you up within their organization and get you more and more skills over time. And then certainly registered apprenticeships. This is a very structured learning environment, and it's something that can bring very nice wages at the end. The key throughout all of this is that you really need to be dedicated to lifelong learning and training. Upskilling, upskilling, upskilling is really the key. No industry is stagnant. Everything is always changing and very rapidly. So your ability to learn and pick up new skills is critical to being successful. Registered apprenticeships, you'll hear more from the panel, but this is a very formal program with structured elements, including related instruction and hands-on experience with your sponsor. So that sponsor is showing you right in the workplace how to do the work. The beauty of apprenticeships is it's an earn while you learn model. So you're getting paid from day one and you're building skills from day one. And in fact, your wages go up incrementally as you go further and further in the apprenticeship. And there are apprenticeships available in a wide range of industries and occupations, including healthcare, construction, childcare, and obviously the trades. Employer paid education and training. Many employers are offering tuition assistance or actually paying for all of your training if it's relevant to that field. Healthcare in particular is really doing a lot of this. The trick is sometimes get in at entry level and grow professionally over time. That's how most people get to move up in a business, and you show your worth and you invest, and that employer will begin to invest in you. You can significantly reduce your out-of-pocket education costs by doing this. Having an employer help pay for or fully pay for your education can really save you a lot of money. And many employers will help you get credentials. So CDLs, heavy equipment operation, OSHA certifications, forklift operators, you name it. Employers, if you're a good worker, they will help you gain skills. And you want to get those skills. You want to continue getting those skills, as Matt mentioned, because it makes you more and more marketable. The wider your range of skills and the more competent you are in those skills, the better off you are going to be in the labor market. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close, and thank you very much and have a great day.
Hi. So just before we go into that one piece, again, looking at some of these resources that are available on the websites. This is a list of apprenticeship sponsors. So he went through that very quickly, but you know, if you found something you were interested in, they have a whole list of companies that are actively hiring sponsors to come in. If you're interested in electrical, line work, plumbing, childcare, there's so many of these different apprenticeship programs, and you could look and find, you know, somebody that's sponsoring one of these in your area with some phone numbers, and just find out when the next time is that they're going to be bringing on some new apprenticeships. So some really great resources available there.
Tracy Burge, and I am the Program Administrator for the Vermont Department of Labor's Youth, Adult, and Dislocated Worker Programs. I am excited to be here today to talk to you specifically about the Vermont Youth Employment Program. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I have just a 2-page PowerPoint to show you what our program is all about. So the Vermont Youth Employment Program, or better known as VYEP, is a program that has a wide variety of opportunities to offer youth and young adults across the state, ages 14 to 24, in developing workplace skills, talking about what you're interested in, and overcoming any challenges that you may be facing. So we have case managers across the state that are at the ready to talk to you about a roadmap to success. So depending on what situation you're in right now, what your goals are, our case managers are here to help you build that plan and hopefully at the end reach your career goal or your education goal or whatever those goals are that you are identifying with the case manager. The first conversation we're going to have with you is, where are you right now? We want to see what you're interested in. Through a series of assessments, we can discover what your personal interests are, what your career interests are, and then we can match those interests with different types of occupations and help you get that work experience so you can dabble a little bit and figure out if it's something that you are really interested in. We're also going to be here to identify challenges with you. So what you're facing in today's world, or what challenges you're facing when you're looking for employment, or possibly when you had employment and you weren't able to successfully stay in employment. We're gonna identify those challenges with you. And we're going to assess your skill levels, again, using assessments in just simple conversations with you to find out what type of skills that you have right now. And then we're going to figure out what you need to do in order to build those skills in order for you to successfully obtain your goals in both academics and in employment. The next conversation we're going to have is some goal setting. We want to know, where do you want to be? What careers are you interested in? What have you done in the past? How you liked what you've done in the past? And then we're going to talk about a career pathway for you. We're going to talk about your educational goals, whether you want to eventually go to college, whether you don't want to go to college at all and you just want to go directly to employment. We're going to talk about those goals with you. And we're going to talk about your personal goals. We want to know where personally you want to be in 2 to 3 to 5 years. So we want to make sure that we are building a well-rounded plan with you that includes your education, your personal goals, and your career goals all together. And then we're going to start building the plan with you. We're going to start filling those gaps of what you're interested in doing and the ultimate career goal or educational or personal goal that you have, and we're going to fill that gap. The services that are going to help do this are work experiences and on-the-job training. So we're going to be able to have you experience different types of employment that match your interests and have you start to develop those skills and really determine whether or not it is you want to ultimately do that career pathway. We experience a lot of individuals that come in and think that they want to be, I'll say, a LNA, for example, and then they have a work experience and they really get into they really take a deeper dive into what it is that you do for an LNA, and they decide that it's just not something they want to do. And that's okay. So that's why it's great. This is a great opportunity for you because you can kind of test the waters before you make a total commitment to it. And it's okay if you come in one day and say, I really want to be an LNA, but you know, a month or two down the road, you decide, you know, it's really not something I can do. That's all right. We can change that roadmap and we can start to find other work experiences for you. We do this by partnering with local employers, and they are a mentor for you as you develop those skills and you participate in that paid work experience. Occupational skills, we do offer trainings that involve a certification program. So you don't necessarily need a high school diploma, but you want to be a CDL driver or, again, LNA. Our program will assist with you getting those specific occupational skills that you need and certifications you need in order to reach that ultimate goal, your ultimate employment goal. Educational component, we also will build in an educational component if it's necessary. If you find that your skill levels are not where they need to be in order to be an LNA or a contractor or a CDL driver, whatever those skill levels are, then we're going to go ahead and build that educational component in your plan with you. And then we're going to provide you support services. Support services include case management services. So again, we have case managers across the state that are ready to assist you with building this plan and also providing you guidance and information along the way. So you will have that support. They will also connect you with partner agencies. If you're dealing with a lot of challenges at this point that we may not be experienced in helping you with, we will build a well-rounded team with our partner agencies. And there's also a lot of other supports in place that we can provide you in order for you to reach your ultimate goals. So I know this is just a brief overview of what we have to offer, but I hope you will reach out to one of our local areas and just have a beginning conversation with our case managers. We're here to help virtually, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
So I'm going to bring this up, and people don't need to feel like they have to write furiously. This will be recorded, so you'll be able to come back to this in the future. But this is when they talk about local case managers, we're really excited about this initiative by the state to connect and develop really comprehensive plans with our young people. And so there are case managers in all of our areas, and these are the phone numbers. And so you would call in and you would set an appointment to be able to talk about whatever those goals are. And again, you can come back to this in a recording to get those numbers, or you could send me a note and I'm happy to forward it to anybody that would like to see it. So I'm going to stop my screen share, and we're going to introduce our panel. We're really grateful for these panelists who has taken some time out of their evenings to work with us tonight and to share some of their experiences. So I'll introduce them in turn. First, Peter Lloyd. Peter has been in plumbing and heating for 16 years. He started Lloyd Plumbing and Heating in 2012. He's passionate about his family-owned business and providing the best service that exists in Central Vermont, and I can attest to his great service. We're really thankful to have Peter here. Marston Cubitt is a foreman of transportation for the Derby Elementary School and Derby Line, supervising 15 drivers and bus monitors, providing bus transportation for 400 students. He's been driving a school bus for 15 years as an instructor in the school bus clinic. Marston also presides over our local congregation in Newport. Grateful to have Marston with us. And Al Samard is the co-owner of ENS Electric. They serve industrial, commercial, and residential needs. He's got over 30 years as an electrician and 24 years as a project manager. So we're really grateful to have all of our panelists here. I did give them, sort of an opening question, and so I think we'll just go in that order of introduction. If you'd each just take a few minutes telling us a little bit about your trade and what it's like to work in that environment and what you feel about those opportunities. So Peter, and then Marston, and then Al, and you'll need to unmute yourself because I think I muted everybody at the beginning.
So yeah, I'm Peter from Lloyd Plumbing Heating here. So yeah, I'm passionate about the business. I started in the trades right out of high school as well. So I started in the trades at 17, unexperienced, and got into the apprenticeship program at a young age to do plumbing and heating and learn the trades that way. So I've been in it for quite a while now, and found to be a nice challenge to learn constantly about all the things that are required. Kind of got in with a family business. My dad's in the business. My grandfather was back in the day. My brother's in the business, so it kind of worked it out that way. So I think that it's really good opportunity to see that the way that works. That the future generation is the ones we have to train. There's never that perfect technician out there that's available to talk to come into your organization that's licensed, ready to go in a truck. We have to invest in these young people and train them. So here at my company, we develop a lot of programs we train twice a week in-house. We do other training programs throughout the year for our employees. And we train with the mindset that we're going to be hiring people that have no experience, that have the right qualifications to be part of the team. And we're going to train them to be technicians because there isn't enough out there to take those. And so our success has been to take people out of the apprenticeship program from the high schools directly that go through the HVAC and plumbing program, and to give them the common apprenticeship here in their senior year of school, as well as continue on their education through our company. And so who we are, we try to really build a fun environment with growth and development for our team to say, let's build a team which are always training each other and getting better at our career. And then uplifting environment which we want to support each other and get better at that. And I think that, it's part of our success, but the business is really about customer service. So it's a people business. No matter what business we're all in here in this call, we're all about people, serving people. And that's what's nice about it. The heart of every business that we're doing in the trades is about taking care of people and the customer, number one. And then the work is something that we can teach on. So the things that we require to hire people is people that want to make a difference in someone else's life, who want to offer exceptional service, who really want to excel and can learn strong customer service communication skills with the client. Demonstrate hard work ethic because it requires hard work to do these things. Be willing to work hard to advance their career. Work well with the team, that was mentioned earlier, but that's definitely a key one. We're all a team here, and then maintain neat appearance and they're well groomed and can show up to work and everything. And so, we call it a memorable experience for our customers, and we want to provide that every time to offer that top level service. And so that's what's been success So what's nice about the career field I'm in, plumbing, heating, we actually do add electrical on now too. We're doing some residential home service for that as well, is that we really are trying to take care of all the needs of those customers who need emergencies and things done right away, and issues fixed and resolved. And some of the cons can be the longer hours, the having to work till the job's done, no matter what time of day or night it is. Some of the on-call services we offer. But some of the pros are, that you are getting paid training, you're getting a lot of benefits for the company, you're getting good wages increase every year. I think what really interested me is that it is the people business side of it more than the technical skills. We are able to teach those technical skills to people. And that's the part that's more teachable than the skills of hiring by characters. What I hire on now is integrity, honesty, being willing to listen, follow directions. I can teach the soft skills for communication as well as the skills for other things like the hands-on experience, but you can't teach somebody to be a decent person that's willing to help people out in their career field. And so that's what we've learned to hire on, basically. And so from that stance, we certainly have gained a lot of ground. And so it's been a rewarding career. Over the years, you have to learn constantly. You have to never stop learning. There's so much to learn. I learn new stuff every single day, and I've been in 18 years almost now. And just the experience of, I'm going back to school as an electrical apprentice myself right now. So going back into the career of learning, constantly going to school along with everything else. And then the pay advance. So you do eventually, here I'm the owner of the company, and I started out as an apprentice level. And so my passion is to train more people in that career field. If they go on their own, great. We made better people out of these people, and we're all in demand. There's plenty of work out there. We need to help each other get there. And so it's definitely a career field where all those things come into play. And I think that's our goal, is how do we make this new generation see the benefits of helping. We're here to help them and to advance their careers. And there's sustainable, there's a lot of openings, a lot of availabilities right now to be licensed and certified in our fields. So
I love that, Pete. Thanks so much. That was really great. Marston?
thank you.
Thank you. Well, I started in driving bus by mistake. I came out of a situation where I needed a job, and I found a job opening, and I've been enjoying it ever since. The most enjoyable part of it is getting to know the kids. I've dealt with high school kids. I drove 11 years for the high school down in Newport, and I'm 4.5 years here in Derby, and getting to know the kids, and I have a lot of fun and enjoy the students that I deal with very much. I actually started with my CDL in 2003, driving a truck hauling mail, and I enjoyed that as well. So more than one aspect of a CDL driver. There's many different aspects. I've got a brother that drives over the road a long haul with a tractor trailer truck, a nephew that also does that. I know other people that drive fuel truck, and I have quite a few friends that drive school bus, and a lot of different avenues for a CDL. Depending on what you want to do, there can be some challenges. Getting trained is one of them. If you want to go to the long haul, it's a little bit more difficult to get the training you need to start out with that. You either have to start out with a school that will help you get the certifications and licensings you need and placement, or sign on with a self-insured company that will help you get that licensing and certifications and experience. I could go to DMV next week and get my Class A CDL. I have a Class B right now, and I could go to my brother and say, "Hey, can I help you drive? Can you put me in a truck?" And he would say, "No, I don't have enough over-the-road experience. His insurance company won't allow that." So that's why sometimes that's one of the challenges about that. But as we saw in some of those videos, some of those resources that the Department of Labor has are great, wonderful resources. If anybody wants to start out with a local company that just does local driving, or for example, in a school district or a school bus company, it's a lot easier to get a CDL and get started, because some of those guidelines aren't quite the same thing. Some of the resources that that have been talked about here are tremendous resources. I kind of wish they had the same type of resources back when I just got out of high school. I did work for an electrician for a little over a year, and my path went in a different direction, but I love that work. And so the resource is a big thing. If you are interested in a CDL, the first thing I would suggest is get a CDL manual. It looks like this, and study it. It tells you everything in there that you need to know to be able to get a CDL. And some of the guidelines, if you're you got to be 18 years old to get a CDL. You have to be 21 years old to operate a commercial vehicle outside of the state that you live in. So there are some challenges with commercial driving, but there's not challenges that cannot be overcome. Every one of the challenges can be overcome if you want to put the work into it. I would like to touch also on some of the things that have been mentioned before. One is being on time. If you're a school bus driver, or if you're driving a mail truck, or if you're any of those things, you have to be on time. It's not just messing up your day, it's messing up everybody that you deal with's day. And that's a crucial thing, to be on time. Also, the teamwork is extremely important. No matter what you're doing, you've got a dispatcher or a supervisor, and you've got a route of some type that you drive for. You're dealing with different people at every stop or whatever. It's really important to be able to be on time. And also, the last thing that I made the note of here is being able to follow directions. Every company might have a little bit different policy on something, and every aspect might be a little bit different in what you tackle each day. And to be able to follow guidelines and follow procedures is very important in, I think, any line of work. And I think that'll pretty much do it. I hope this can spark some interest in people, and don't be afraid to reach out for these resources. I think they're wonderful resources. Thank you.
Thanks, Marson. Al?
Hello, my name's Al Samard. I'm a commercial electrician. I started as an apprentice electrician and worked my way up to being a co-owner of my own company. I just want to start by saying I really like what Peter said. I'm not going to repeat everything he said, because I probably would have said all the same things he just said. But what I'd like to do is, I don't know if you're aware that in a trade, there are a lot of specialty fields that you can go into. So I chose to be a commercial electrician because there's lots of variation in what I get to do and different kinds of environment to work in. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's not necessarily what everybody does. There's a lot of different options. And I think the same would be true, like I'm going to list things for electrician, but I think Peter could probably come up with a list similar to this for his field. One thing you might want to do is be work in like public buildings and stores or factories. These buildings all need electricians. You need to be able to take care of the building to keep it running, obviously. There's different requirements for the different locations. If you're in a factory, there might be conveyor systems or assembly lines and things, and those systems would have controls that are involved and some computer networking. So that could be a very fun field to be in. One of the pluses is you probably get to work a steady job, steady hours, and be home at night and take care of your kids. The downside might be that you get paid slightly less wage than if you're in a commercial field. Another option might be to be in the residential building field, condos, all those kind of things. Those are probably less traveling than a commercial electrician. I travel all over the whole state, but it might be a smaller area of travel. Probably the work is a little bit not quite as strenuous. It's not quite as heavy. The materials are lighter. But there'll be probably some fun things. There's probably security systems and alarms, alarms. Nowadays, they even have things where you just speak and your lights come on, that kind of stuff. So those are all fun things to work on, or at least I think they are. Commercial is what I'm doing. I like to do that because I get to do just about every kind of aspect. So I'm like I get to touch on everything. I may not be a specialist sometimes, but I do like learning new skills. And just like Peter was saying, it's a whole lifelong adventure of learning and trying to continually build your skill set up. In a commercial environment, you may work in multiple different kinds of settings. I've been in machine shops, I've been in clean rooms, I've been in food processing environments. All those have controls or tools that need control systems. The control systems all need to work together to produce the end product. Working in a machine shop is quite different than working in a clean room, because if you're in a clean room, you've got all the same sort of aspects going on, but you also have to be concerned about dust control, and that changes how you do your job. I mean, you have to control the dust. And if you're in a food processing facility, it's microorganisms, so you got to make sure you don't contaminate the food that they're producing. So it's lots of extra complications to add to the total package of everything else that you're doing. So, but that's something that appeals to me. I like being challenged, and so that might be something that you might want to do. There's also fields in fire alarm work and security systems and HVAC controls, which is heating and cooling of buildings. These also need electricians. All these systems have control panels and sensors. Fire alarm system would have smoke detectors and those kinds of things. HVAC would have temperature sensors and all that. Big buildings might have multiple controllers that control everything, and those are all networked together, and there's programming involved. So there's lots of different skill sets that all come together, and those trades usually make a little better than commercial electricians would, but that might be something that you might be interested in. And lastly, these days, it's renewable energies. My company builds solar arrays, and I actually have a separate company that monitors and maintains them. And so I normally pay my electricians more money to be out there outdoors working on a solar field, because there's the inconvenience of being cold like today, which was like 9 degrees out. But there's also great days when everything's really super nice. The work outside is where you'd want to be. So there's pluses and minuses, but I try to just give my guys a little something extra for that extra having to be outdoors. So those solar arrays, I'm going to speak to solar arrays. It could be wind turbines, it could be hydro plants, so it could be any kind of facility that produces electricity. They need electricians, and those are all specialty fields. Those fields normally get paid more. All those systems need to have sensors that can keep track of what they're doing, and if something is to go wrong, like say in a solar field, you may have acres and acres of solar panels out there. Well, if something's not working, where do you start looking? Well, those sensors are things that kind of lead you in the direction of which panels are the ones that aren't functioning correctly, or which inverter is not working right. And then you show up there with your specialized tools and techniques that you have to learn to troubleshoot it and figure out what's wrong and be able to make that repair. And that's probably, I think, is currently about probably your highest paid electrical type of work. Just because it's new, there's not a lot of people out there doing it. And there's a demand for it right now. So if that's something that would be interesting to you, then that might be the career path for you. But all these things that I've just mentioned all start from being an apprentice electrician somewhere, and you start building your skill set. And you know, it's a lifelong journey. Thank you.
Al, thanks for that. Great overview. So I'd like to just go around one more time with just some quick input. I know you each talked about some of those qualities and characteristics. If you're a young person right today that's hearing this and there's something that sparked an interest and they're going to go call up somebody who hires apprentices, and we just go in the same order, Peter, Marston, and Al, any quick tips on how to present themselves, put their best foot forward?
So yeah, for us, it's, you know, it definitely is a people business, and it's having the right qualities. For us, we hired more in character than even the skill set. You know, certainly having some skills is good coming in, but we can teach those. Being able to present and to be able to feel like they care about people. If you don't care about people enough to be in the business, it's kind of the wrong business for you, because you're dealing with people all day long. And then for us, it's just, obviously we have a career path set up because apprenticeship is involved for plumbing. So you have to do a 4-year program to get your certification, 4 years of night school, which means after 2 days a week, usually to night school, during the school year. And then you have to get your journeyman license next, and then 1 year of experience to get your master's for plumbing. There's other opportunities with us too, because we do HVAC as well. And there's a certification for that that's a little bit less involved. It's a couple weeks of class, but then it's a lot of hands-on experience to get the real skill set. And then oil and gas propane school to service these systems are shorter career paths as well. They're anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks that we train on, but there are different certifications required to do parts of the job. And so having that willingness to learn, I tell people the job is 85% attitude, 15% skill level. I tell all my hires that. I tell my existing employees that constantly, because if you have a bad attitude today, then I can pay you 50% of your wage and we can call it good. But they don't really agree with that necessarily. But what we find is that is the biggest thing is, you know, we can teach anything as long as people are willing to invest in themselves, and we can invest in them together. We can create a dynamic duo to really get people to the skill they need to be at. But without the right attitude, that all is gone by the wayside. And so we try to hire an attitude, characteristics of being honest, integrity, and caring about people. And if you have those skills, we can pretty much teach you all the other skills you need to do the job. So
Thanks, Pete.
thank you.
Marston, any tips?
Yeah, I think the people skills that he just mentioned is very important. Depending on the type of commercial vehicle you want to drive, and it would depend on how many people you have to interact with. If you just soon not deal with a lot of people, more of the long haul kind of driving would be probably more your thing, because you're in the truck by yourself 8 to 10 hours a day. Versus a school bus, you got to deal with people every day, all day. And the biggest thing I would say is probably do a little bit of homework first. If you just to walk in here and say, hey, I want to drive a bus, and you don't even know that you have to pass a couple of tests to get a CDL, it might be a little beneficial for you to you know, start asking some questions around. Go on to the Department of Labor website, stop by a DMV and pick up one of those CDL manuals, school bus manual, whatever manual you might be interested in doing, and come with a good attitude. If you come thinking you know it all and showing that you know it all, you probably don't. And it would be much better to come with a teachable attitude, and an attitude that's eager to learn and eager to do the best job you can do. And I think that goes for probably most any trade that you can think of.
Thanks, Marston. Al, any other tips you have?
Well, when I'm interviewing, I usually look for somebody that's had a little bit of experience in some sort of trade. They don't necessarily have to be, doesn't have to be electrical. It could be any trade, because I think that just shows an interest in somebody that wants a hands-on kind of career. Trade jobs are physical jobs. They aren't really desk jobs unless you become the owner of the company. But there's, yeah, or a manager or something. I mean, there are positions in that, but a lot of it is physical work. Yes, I think you want to show up and be clean dressed. don't necessarily have to wear a suit or anything. You notice that the three of us aren't wearing suits, only Gabe is. And we, I mean, you want to be clean, dressed, presentable. I'll tell you, one of the things that I've noticed is sometimes people show up and their mothers filled out the application, and they come in, they don't have their documents in order, and they're like, "Oh, my mom has my driver's license." It's like, don't really need to talk to you anymore. You obviously aren't quite ready for this yet. So really, have yourself organized. Be able to answer questions when you're asked questions. Be presentable. Have an attitude of willing to learn, and I think that's really the biggest parts right there. It's kind of like what Peter and my Stone, is that right? I'm sorry. Have said. It's really an attitude that's of being able to work with people. That's the most important part. The learning part you can do.
Great. Thanks, Al. Thanks to all three of you. Really appreciate that presentation by our panelists. We will conclude with some remarks by Phil Boson. We asked Phil to give a little bit of a doctrinal perspective, why it is as a church that we feel it's so important to sponsor these kind of activities for our youth. And so just an introduction, Phil Boson he's self-employed. He owns his own business. He's the owner of Boson Associates, which is a consulting firm that helps retail jewelers with strategy, culture, and leadership. He earned his graduate gemologist certificate from the Gemological Institute of America and is a certified gemologist appraiser for the American Gem Society. He's been recognized and he's a leader in his professional associations. And he also presides over our young single adult branch, which is a unit. It's a special unit for our church. It's a congregation that meets in Berlin for young single adults under the age of 30. And so he's, their mentor and ecclesiastical leader. And we're really grateful to have Phil on with us today. So Phil will give us that doctrinal perspective. And then as he's done, I'll give a benediction. Thanks so much.
Thanks for inviting me. This is a great opportunity. Great panel so far. I appreciate all the comments. I'd like to start out by telling you we're going to talk about 5 points that will help you with your job search and in a life of service. The first point is open your mouth. In 2009, Bishop Richard Edgley delivered a charge to all the men of the church titled, "This is your phone call." Though given to men, it applies to all. I'd like to read from that. Quote, "The responsibility for finding employment or improving your employment rests with you. Continued guidance comes from the Lord through regular fasting and prayer. Your quorum leaders, bishops, specialists, and employment resource center staff will help in your efforts. We fear, however, that often your leaders are unaware of your situation. Speak up. Let them know you are looking for work. And bishops and priesthood leaders, rise up and let the brothers engage themselves in the wonderful opportunity to truly be a quorum, a brotherhood, a brother's keeper," end quote. Edgley goes on to say, as you consider your network of friends and associates and their connections, you will find that opportunities exist. You can be self-sufficient and in time go on to help others as you exercise creativity, work, and faith, end quote. Networking might have a bad reputation. Sometimes it's associated with marketing schemes that make us uncomfortable. Many of us don't know how to do it effectively. When done properly, networking helps everyone. The second point is ABCD. Always be connecting dots. Some dots are ideas. Some dots are people. Some dots are opportunities. You need to connect dots for others all the time. Once in a while, you'll connect dots for yourself. I want to share the story of my daughter, Anna, and how ABC worked in her behalf. My daughter had a young women's leader named Gabrielle from church. Gabrielle had a baby and a business. She contacted Anna one day to help her when her regular babysitter was unavailable. Gabrielle owns Tom Girl Juice Company in Burlington. When Anna was home from school, she contacted Gabrielle about a job. Anna worked for Tom Girl for 4 months, and although she made pretty good money, she knew she didn't want to work there much more. Anna was in her junior year of college studying accounting, and she needed an internship. She ran into Sarah that she worked with for 6 weeks at the juice shop and mentioned that she was looking. Sarah had left Tom Girl Juice and was working as a nanny for an accountant named Billy. Sarah said that Billy was an accountant, was at an accounting firm in St. Albans, Vermont, named Kittle, Brannigan, and Sargent. Anna got his name and looked him up and KB&S up on LinkedIn. She called and asked if they had any internship opportunities, mentioning that Sarah had suggested they might. KB&S had never had an intern. Billy brought the idea to the partners, and after a brief interview, they agreed to give Anna a shot. After about 10 weeks of work, one of the partners asked Anna to come to his office. They offered her a full-time position after she graduated. We called my friend Sonny that I met at a Boy Scout camp in 1982 that had been an accountant for 30 years. Sonny asked us about the compensation they were offering, and we looked up the salary and the benefits in a book that we didn't even know existed. He determined that the offer was about 30% above the market rate for a new college grad. They also allowed Anna to work part-time from school her entire senior year. What are the dots that were connected? Gabrielle, that was her young women's leader. One of the many women that are assigned to work with the girls in the church. Many of us have people, whether they be teachers, mentors, bus drivers, any number of people. But Gabrielle, she knew from church. The next dot was Tom Girl. They worked together at the juice shop. The next dot was Sarah. They made juice together off and on part-time for 6 weeks. The next was Billy. That's Sarah's boss, the father of the baby that she was nannying and the man that worked at the accounting firm. And then fifth was Sonny, my friend from 40 years ago that I met as a Boy Scout. The results were Anna got a great job with great benefits, and that would even help with her grad school. The third point is be the person that people know, like, and trust. To break that down, you've got to be known. Own the phrase, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Many of the young adults are not comfortable putting themselves out there in front of new people. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Practice coming out of your shell in a safe place and grow in confidence in varied settings. Put yourself in social situations regularly. You don't know when you'll meet your Sonny or your Sarah. Like, to be liked, follow these 6 steps from the book by Dale Carnegie titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. 1, become genuinely interested in other people. 2, smile. 3, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. 4, be a good listener. 5, encourage others to talk about themselves. 6, talk in terms of the other person's interest. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Trust. Be a person that can be trustworthy. Many of these points have been addressed earlier by our panelists, but I'll hit them again anyway. Keep your commitment in word and deed. Be honest. Be transparent. Be on time. Keep confidences. Don't gossip. Apologize when you've made a mistake. Be predictable and set the tone. 4th point is regarding social media. Use it properly. Use it as a tool. LinkedIn, LINKED, capital IN.com, I guess, is the right place for your professional presence. Have a good photo, be well groomed, have it well lit, find groups on there that you care about, keep it updated, LinkedIn is a very valuable tool. Facebook, Instagram, optional, but don't post anything that you're not willing to have your potential employers see. 5, follow up. Send an email or a text after every communication. Second, send a handwritten note. Anytime you can, they make a big impact. When someone does you a kindness and you send that note, it is remembered. Third, call on the telephone with clarity and purpose. Good telephone skills will set you apart from the crowd. In closing, I want to read a short quote from Marion G. Romney from a talk titled "The Celestial Nature of Self-Reliance." Without self-reliance, one cannot exercise these innate desires to serve. How can we give if there is nothing there? Food for the hungry cannot come from empty shelves. Money to assist the needy cannot come from an empty purse. Support and understanding cannot come from the emotionally starved. Teaching cannot come from the unlearned. And most important of all, spiritual guidance cannot come from the spiritually weak. In closing, I'd like to share my contact information, and I've offered myself as a resource. If I can help in any way, I'd be happy to. My telephone number, of course, is area code 802-777-5007. My email is Phillip, Phillip, at bosenassociates.com. BOSENASSOCIATES.com. Reach out if you can. I know God lives and loves us, and He wants us to be able to care for ourselves and others. As you open your mouth, practice ABCD. Develop habits so that others will know, like, and trust you. Use social media properly and follow up. You will be able to care for yourselves and others in a manner that God desires. I believe all things are possible with God's help. I leave you these thoughts and suggestions in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity we've had to gather tonight. We pray for those who have viewed this program today and who will view it in the future, that their needs might be met, that they might feel the Spirit prompt them in the things that they need to do and areas that could be exciting and opportunities for them. We give thanks for these people who participated tonight, members of our panel, from the people from the state of Vermont. Just so grateful for those who've spoken to us, prayed for us. We pray that they'll bless, in particular, our young people as they contemplate those things that they need to do, how they can be a light in their community, how they can be self-reliant and be in best positions to serve thee and to bless the lives of many around them. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it. Have a great night.